Okay, I think we'll start now. And um, I've got a little reading to do from what represents the theme of the class today. So, this is a favorite teacher of mine from the United States. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago. And his name is Donald Moyer. And his book is about healthy feet. So, we're going to have a feet emphasis, as we did last week. And what he says at the beginning of his book is that um, our feet serve two functions. They must be flexible enough to allow intricate movements, such as walking, running, dancing, and adapting to changing terrain. And they still have to be strong enough to tolerate the whole weight of our body. So it's a lot to ask of a relatively small area of our bodies. So we're going to give our feet a lot of attention today. And if I may now mute. So here we go. There we go. Good. And take a moment, let's see, sit up on a bolster or a cushion of some kind. And I'll do the same. And then extend your legs out. And give your legs a good stretch forward. Then bring your hands behind you. We're in the most basic of the yoga poses, Dandasana. And propping yourself up with your hands just lets you open up to good posture. So open up the corners of your chest and drop your shoulders. Feel your whole spine elongating from its base to the back of your neck. And then keep your left leg straight and bend your right leg in. And take your right foot and then holding the area of the metatarsals, the toes, turn your foot towards the ceiling. So rotate your foot upwards. And just give it a little bit of movement forward and back so it feels like you're loosening up the toe bones. Good. And then release that foot forward and then bring the left leg in. Grab hold of the toes and the area of the metatarsals and then do a little rolling movement with your foot. So your left foot's resting on your right thigh and you're just doing this kind of shaking out of your toe bones. Good. And then extend that leg out. And in your good yoga posture, then point your toes away from you and downwards towards the floor. And then bring the toes back towards the knees. And that's such a simple movement, forward and back. It's not really that special, but you're going through a range of movement. And see if you can sense that movement in your legs as well as your feet, as well as in your ankles. So when you draw your toes back towards your knees, tighten up your quadriceps, your front thigh muscles. When you point your toes away from you, feel your hamstrings contract. So there's those two movements that allow you to connect with the other supporting muscles, your legs, and even up into your hips. Good. And then separate your feet a little bit more and turn your feet and your legs out. And then turn your feet in as though you could touch toes together, or you can touch your big toes together. Turning out, turning in. Maybe exaggerating the movement a little bit. Good, and then bring that to a standstill. And see if you can turn your feet to face towards each other. So turning them in through the ankles and the toe bones, and then turning your feet out. So turning your feet in, inverting your feet, and turning your feet out, everting your feet. And just slow movement so that you can experience not only what's happening in your feet and your ankles, but how that reflects in your legs. And it's a challenge if you just want to move your feet and not your knees and your legs. Good. And then just shake them out. Shake your feet out. All right, let's continue what we're doing, but in a lying down position. So I'll move my bolster to the side. And taking a spot on your mat face upwards, have your feet on the floor by your buttocks just to start with, and your arms loose by your side. Extend your right leg out. Extend your left leg out. Take a moment to feel the points of contact with the back of your body, and maybe nuzzle your buttocks into the floor a little bit more, your shoulder blades, draw your shoulders down. Bring your feet slightly apart, and then let's practice the two movements of stretching your toes down towards the floor, moving your toes back towards your knees. Stretching your feet away from you, drawing your feet towards your body. And the next time that you point your toes away from you, then also extend your arms overhead. So let's work into the upper body somewhat here. And one long stretch from your fingertips to your toe tips, as though you were having your first yawning stretch of the morning. And then toes back towards your knees, bring your arms back by the side of your body, palms down. Let's work with the breath. Inhale, big, open stretch. Exhale, arms back by your side, drawing your navel back at the same time. Let's do several of these until it feels like a coordinated breath and movement pattern. All right, and the last one, inhaling, stretching, exhale. Feel as you draw your toes back towards your knees that you can have your arms loose by your side again. Give your feet a bit of a shake out. Feet and toes, shake them out. Lovely. All right, and then last one of these, turn your feet, your ankles, your legs out. Your feet are separated, so you can turn your feet in now, and turning feet in, legs in, and feel this movement. It's such a simple movement, but what you're doing is you're employing the legs and rotation through the hips. Turning your feet in, toes touch perhaps, turning your feet out, little toe towards the floor. Keep your upper body still and relaxed. Good. And then pause there. Bend your right knee into your chest. Hold at the front of your knee. And bring your right thigh bone close to your right ribs. Slip your hands around the back of your knee, the back of the thigh, and then extend the leg up towards the ceiling. Alternately bend the knee down, push the sole of your foot up towards the ceiling. Without being aggressive, see if you can intensify the work that you're doing. Imagine that you're pushing up against a weight. I think about the sandbags that I have in the studio here, as though I had a 3-kilo sandbag on my foot, working against that resistance. And feel that connection once again. It's all about connection. The foot, or like that ditty goes, the foot bone is connected to the knee bone connected to the thigh bone, and so forth. And feel for it, though. All right, and then finally, let's bring the right foot down to the floor. Extend the right leg out. Once the right leg touches down, both legs fall out to the side. Relax. When I do any of these really simple movements, then it feels like there's more aliveness through the side that I've worked. And then left knee in. First, hold at the front of your knee. Get a good flexion through your hip, thigh bone towards the outer ribs. And then hold at the back of the leg, near to the knee. Extend that leg up. Good. And then this movement that's so lovely for your feet and your knees and your legs and hips, pushing up against a slight resistance. And the upper body is passive. Your face relaxed. Good. Imagining that weight on your foot. Just 2 more. Good. And then when you fold the leg down this time, release that left leg out to the floor. Let both feet fall out. Let your arms rotate out and pause there. And feel the energy down through the hips and the legs and into the feet and the toes. All right. And then we'll come up into a kneeling position. And I have doubled up mats here, and sometimes it's nice to double up your mat so you've got a softer surface to kneel on, but a single mat's fine too. Come on to all fours. So hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Good. And a little more work for your feet, for your toe bones. Extend your right leg back behind you onto the floor. Look at your right foot and curl your right foot toes under. Then, if it feels like a nice movement for you, lean back slightly into the balls of the right foot so you can get the calf muscle stretching too. Heel away. Good. And then come back to where you were with your arms over your wrists and your hips over your knees. Your toes are coiled under. And then let's rock back and forth a few times. You might want to do that with your breath. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. As though you're sitting your buttocks back. Okay, good. And complete. Knees back in line. And left leg back behind you. Coil your toes under. Lean back into that. You might find that one back leg is tighter than the other. Or the toes stiffer on one side. Leaning back, coming forward. Good. And finally, coming into kneeling position and child's pose, buttocks back towards the heels. Let's keep the arms more active. So the elbows are lifted and you've got a beautiful long stretch right to the tips of your fingers. Buttocks back towards your heels. Elbows lifted, chest coming forward. And then let's let it all go. Bring your elbows to the floor, closer to your body. Fold your arms, rest your head onto your hands. And let any feeling of weight on your shoulders, let it go. All right, and then let's exit from child's pose to all fours kneeling and downward facing dog pose. So tuck those toes under, lift up your knees, lift up your hips. And because we're being kind of foot centric here, lift your heels up and be on the backs of the toes. When you look back at your feet, they're more or less perpendicular to the floor. Good. And your buttocks are super high, lifted right up towards the ceiling. Feel the kind of rebounding of energy from the front of your feet to the front of your legs up into your hips. Good. And then keeping your buttocks nice and high, slowly lower your heels. You might feel that strongly now through the lower leg, back of your knee to your heel, back of your knee to your buttocks. And then take a walk forward and inhale and come up. And all the way to standing. Take up your block. And place it just in the middle of your mat. I'm going to be a little close to the wall. That never goes astray. You might need the wall for balance, but probably not. So here's the block placed on the low end, on the flat end. You're going to step up your right foot onto the block. When you do that, then all your toes are on the block, but your heel's still firmly onto the floor. Initially, it puts you into a kind of funny position. So let's see whether we can bring back our good yoga posture. The chest is lifted, looking out towards the horizon. And then let's do a little more work through the stretch. And if you can here, step your left foot forward. So at the moment, my feet are one in front and one back slightly. I'm going to see whether I can bring my feet into one line. So the left foot lines up with the right foot, which is elevated. Now I'm getting a much stronger stretch in that position. And then let's take a challenge, if you like, and step the left foot even a little forward of your right foot. Good. And then straightening up again and lifting up. So back knee to the heel or the Achilles. Feel that calf muscle stretch, beautiful stretch, and all of your toes. We're going to step off the block. I'm going to come forward and over the top of the block and change sides. And left foot up. All right, and then get your balance. You don't have to be looking down. And then where have you placed your feet? Is it different than the first side? Feel in your good posture, hip bones towards your ribs, navel drawn back slightly. And then let's take a further movement, if you like, stepping right foot slightly forward. I'm going to be very kind on this side because there was a time when I had a bad sprain. So I won't go as far into it this side, but you might want to and take that extra step. So even your right foot slightly forward of your left foot, if you like. Good. Relax your shoulders. All right. And then let's come off that block and take a few of the standing poses that will be emphasizing our feet. So first one is the most basic of the standing poses, Tadasana. When you're standing in the center of your mat, Have your feet slightly apart. And then lift your toes and spread them. And for whatever reason, we like to look at our toes to see whether that is a movement that we've been able to do. But you know where your toes are, you can feel your toes. So now, chin level with the ground, looking out towards the horizon, feel into your toes, all 5 each foot. And then see if you can create a more active arch of your foot on the inside. Where your big toe is, draw your big toe towards your inner heel towards your big toe. As I do that, and I've had a lot of practice with it, I feel my leg muscles working more. So I've incorporated that foot movement into my legs and all the way up into my hip bones at the front. Inner arch of your feet lifted, and if you can, then connect with the outer arch of your foot, little toe and outer heel. Where your arms are placed at a little distance from the side of your body, lengthen into the tips of your fingers and feel a kind of rebounding of energy that can come through the ground, through your feet, up through your lower and your upper legs and into your hips. Good. Notice if you're maybe a little overdoing your knees, it's fine to keep a softness behind your knees. All right, and then let's move on here to tree pose, Vishkasana. I'm going to use the wall for this and take my bent leg position with my right side facing the wall and my right knee placed against the wall. So it's right foot, left thigh. You know this pose well. And your right knee resting against the wall. I'm side on to the wall. That's going to help me keep the right foot in contact with my left thigh. And also, it's good for balance. So you've got your position there at the wall. You've got right foot, left thigh. Then can you create a sense of bringing the hips closer together from the outer hips to the median plane of your body? So it feels like the hips are compressing to center, and that gives you greater stability through the midline of your body. And then once you're balanced, you've got the foot in place, then bring your hands in front of your chest. Let that be a reminder to lift and open the heart center. And if you're doing fine there, then do a reality check. Have you been able to maintain the arch of the left foot? If not, then see if you can draw it up again. And what is the influence of that movement? And then let's go second side, release. 2 feet on the ground. Left side towards the wall. Balance on your right foot. Lift your left knee. Place your left foot on your right thigh, the inside of your right thigh, and your left knee against the wall. Good. Take a moment. Adjust the arch of the right foot. It's good to make that beginning and then feel the lift that that gives you through the entire body. And then once more, the hips compress to center, the outer hips, the glute medius muscles. And then when you feel like you're more stable, when you get to that point, bring your hands together in front of your chest. Lift up, lengthen up, but you're grounded still through that strong right foot and the arch of the right foot. Good. Let's go one more round. And if you like, then move away from the wall so you're free balancing. I'm going to stay near to the wall, but slightly back from the wall so my knee not on the wall this time. And then get your balance on your weight-bearing leg, your left leg, right foot, left thigh. And then when you're ready, working towards balancing and hands in front of the chest. Good. Notice if to keep your balance, you're holding your breath, and then make that a priority. So breathing before anything else. All right, and ready to change, and releasing the hands, releasing the right foot, and other side. So either using the wall for support, your knee against the wall, or moving out a few inches and free balancing, and left foot, right thigh. Create that right foot arch, and when you're ready, two hands together in front of the chest. You may not take that next step if you're having trouble with your balance. And possibly you've already done this on the other sides. If your center of gravity is strong through your base, then extend up your arms overhead, still in prayer position. Reach for the ceiling and reach down through the taproot of your right foot. Beautiful. And releasing slowly, arms come down slowly as you lower the left leg. Beautiful. Let's continue with the standing poses, but coming back to our home base, Tadasana. Get comfortable there in Tadasana. Build your pose from your foundations, your feet, and feel that ripple-on effect all the way up into your hips, even into your upper body. All right, and then let's step out for triangle pose, Trikonasana. And turn your feet to the right. So your right foot turned out 90 degrees, your left foot turned in a little. Allow the left hip to come slightly forward as though it was rotating to the right side too. And then bring your arms up at shoulder height. And your arms initially, when they float up, reach right out to the tips of the fingers and feel the hands and the fingertips vibrant with the stretch. Then feet fully grounded. We're not in a hurry to move on. We're building from the base. Inner arches of the feet lifted, outer arches of the feet lifted. And then merely go halfway towards the floor and pause at the halfway mark. Lengthen out. When you're as far as you can go in that direction, merely drop your right hand beneath your shoulder. Extend the left arm up towards the ceiling. Good. And then unshrug your shoulders. Draw your shoulders and your shoulder blades down towards your waist. Feel stable because your feet, your ankles are strong. Reach right back into your left leg. Right, take a breath or two there. And then feel like someone's drawing you up out of the pose, lifting from your left hand. Lift right up towards the ceiling. Inhale and come up. And turn your feet center. And round to the left. It's fine to rest your arms at any point by your side or work on your strength and keep them elevated. Pause. Feel your feet. Draw up through the lower leg bones. Lift the knees, lift the quadriceps, and then let's go left. Good. And we're not in a hurry, reaching out, and then dropping left arm beneath your left shoulder, right arm up towards the ceiling. Good. Roll your shoulders down from your neck. Draw your shoulders down towards your back waist. Good. Keep on breathing. And feel into your back foot. Sometimes we forget about that side. Lift the arch of your right foot, the arch of your left foot. Feel the ripple-on effect through your foundations, up through your legs and your hips. And inhale and come up. And turn your feet front and center and step back. Tadasana. Good. Let's take Uttanasana as an interim pose. Fold your arms so that you're holding your elbows and feet are slightly separated. Stretch your arms up towards the ceiling. Good. Pause there. When your arms are more or less overhead, see if you can feel into your shoulder blades and move your shoulder blades up towards the front of your chest. And then let's take a bow forward that's only halfway down. At the halfway point when you're bending forward, then lift your elbows all over again and lengthen your torso forward. Be kind to your back and on an as-need basis, bend your knees as much as you want or as little as you want. And then let's complete the downward movement. I'm going to slip my hands into the crease of my elbows and let my arm bones hang heavily towards the floor. Keep your eyes open for this time and lift your toes and spread them all over again. Big toe towards each other, big toes towards each other, little toes away. And then lengthen the toes along the mat. Feel your heel bones and imagine broadening your heel bones. Before we finish, can you recreate, without lifting your arms, just the feeling of lifting your chest? Lift your chest and draw it out. Good. And then let go of the arms, drop them, bend your knees over your ankles, and inhale and come up slowly and all the way to standing. Back to Tadasana. Step out for Veer Bhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And turn your feet to the right. Bring your arms up at shoulder height. Bend your right leg until your right knee is over your right ankle. And instead of guessing at that, have a look. Just to do a little lean out over the right leg. So the patella above the ankle joint, and then draw the right thigh back into your body. Good. Turn your head, look over your right arm, and then feel into the left side of your body. Lift the arch of the left foot. Drop your shoulders, roll them down. Feel the left heel stretching away from the body. Maybe you can lift up your chest a little bit more, and the back body supports the shoulder blades in, almost like a little back bend for your upper part of your back. Good. Head to center, straight right leg, turn your feet to center, turn them left. Bend your left leg, and check out your stance, patella over the ankle joint. And while you're there, lift the arch of the left foot. Then looking along the straight line of your left arm at the same time as you stretch your right arm back. Good. Strong feet, strong ankles, and strong back supporting the front body. So shoulder blades slightly forward. Feel the heart lift. Good. Head to center, straight left leg. Turn your feet to center and step right back in. Good. Let's take Uttanasana this time as a complete resting pose. So fold your arms, hold your elbows. Inhale, exhale, take your bow forward. And when you come into a full forward bend, adjust any tightness in your back by flexing your knees. And feel the weight of your arms drawing you down without an effort of willpower. So lengthening from the lovely side body, the lateral body, the outer shoulder blades, the head, heavy chin towards the jugular notch. This time do close your eyes, breathing quietly. All right, and then drop your arms and let them dangle, and slowly roll up until you are upright. Parsvakonasana, step out wide again. Turn your feet to the right. Good. Let's see, this time keep your left hand onto your left hip. Only your right arm is elevated and stretched out to the right side. Flex your right knee and come into your bent leg position. When you've done that, then with that care that we've been giving to the arches of the feet, inner arch of the right foot lifted, outer arch of the right foot lifted, and then do a lean out over your right thigh. Let's not go down just yet, but extend the torso over the right thigh. And then finally, elbow to knee, right elbow resting onto the right knee. This is a really great position to do a slight rotation. Bring the right side of your body forward, your left shoulder back. Now, where did you get to? Is your knee directly over your ankle? I'm going to take a deeper bend there. Then let's take a deeper side bend. And if this works for you, bring your right hand onto your right shin bone. Clasp your hand onto your shin bone or the front of your ankle, depending on how far you've gone down. Now you can lever a little bit and press your arm against your lower leg. Bring the right side of your body forward, the left side back. Let's complete the pose by extending the arm. So in a big circular movement, bring your left arm in front of your body and extend the left arm to the right side. Draw the navel back. If you can, turn a little bit more, right to left. And we're going to come up in one sweeping movement. Inhale all the way up to standing. Straight right leg. Turn your feet to the left. If at any point you need to rest your arms, I'll reiterate. We're not going for Olympic gold. Take care of yourself if you need to. Bend your left leg. Keep your right hand onto your right hip. Bend your left knee over your left ankle, and then check it out. Bend your left elbow, place it just above your left knee, and then is your patella directly above your ankle. Then let's do a little rotation here, turning the left side of your chest forward, right elbow, right shoulder back. See if you can move on here and slide the left hand down the shin bone towards the ankle. To clasp your hand there, it's fine to keep your elbow where it was. And then a big sweeping movement, bring the right arm in front of your body, extend it all the way to the left side. Can you still feel the right side of your body stretch away from your right hip to your right ankle? And then finishing with that slight rotation, left ribs forward, right ribs back. Going to come up now, plant your feet, inhale and come up, straight left leg, feet to center, and come on right back to Tadasana. Well done. Let's take Uttanasana at the wall. So bring yourself back to rest the buttocks onto the wall and the feet away from the wall. How far? About 30 centimeters. So you're taking a little time out, buttocks resting against the wall, legs relatively straight. Rest your hands on the front of your thighs. Uttanasana, take your bow forward. Feel your buttocks slide up the wall and let your hands slide down your legs. Pause at a halfway point. Hold the front of the legs firmly. Then straighten your elbows, lift your chest, and project your chest, your whole spinal column, your head away from the torso. And then last of all, if you want to take a full forward bend, your back adjusts to this easily, then release your arms down, release your head down, release all of your trunk down towards your legs. Let's stay for 1 minute more. You might reach behind you and lift your buttock bones, one side, then the other side, a little higher onto the wall. Make sure that that feels good as a upper hamstring stretch. And then also, if you've gone deep into your forward bend, draw the abdomen up away from the thighs. So all the organs, the internal organs are moving towards your back body. Okay, good. And then flex your knees, bring them forward. And we're releasing from the pose. Come up in your own time. And upright standing again. Let's do a balancing pose here. So face towards the wall. Let's see. We'll use this wall. And stand what distance? About the distance of your forearm away from the wall. Stand with your feet slightly apart. And then rise up onto a heel lift onto the backs of your toes. And your heels are lifted high. There's a tendency to roll to the little toe side of your foot here. So keep the ball of the big toe down, that metatarsal, and feel that reflected in the buttocks being firm as well. And then slowly lower your heels. Move back a little further away from the wall. And now we're going to come into chair pose. Bend your knees. Imagine that you have a block between your knees and keep the knees turned in and pressing against that imaginary block. In chair pose, as you've bent your knees, then bring your arms up just slightly in front of your ears. Extend the arms up and out and draw the buttock bones back. Now the challenge here is to come up onto a heel rise again and see how you go. Lift your heels, come up onto the ball of your foot, and all the way up. And if you can, keep your chair pose as you do this, so your knees still somewhat bent. Lift your heels all the way up as you straighten your legs. I'm finding the wall in front of me very handy here. And then slowly lower your heels and your arms. Let's go through that one more time with a little bit more pace. So bending into chair pose. At this point, and thank goodness your heels are still on the floor, you've got the full support. Now we're going to lift the heels, come up onto a heel rise. This is really for strengthening your toe bones, your foot bones. And keeping the chair pose and extending the arms up. And then as you straighten your legs, start to slowly lower your arms and lower your heels. Takes a surprising amount of effort, that one, I find. All right, and then let's move away from the wall for Prosurrita Padatanasana. Step out wide on your mat, facing towards the camera once again. In your wide stance, bring your hands onto your hips. Roll your shoulders back and down. Elbows are back. And then come back to build your posture from your feet. Inner arches of your feet lifted. Outer arches of your feet lifted. Feel the influence of doing those very small adjustments, but I can feel them in my legs and my hips. Take a bow forward. Just halfway, and that's enough for now. Glance down at your feet. At this point, sometimes I'm losing the inner arch of my foot. So pump it up again. Big toe towards the inner heel towards the big toe. Similarly on the outer foot. And then finally reaching down to place your fingertips onto the floor. If you're not reaching easily, please put a block there so that you can stay a little bit longer and make the further adjustments. Then arms still straight, up on your fingertips, lift your chest and bring it forward like you did in Uttanasana. Feel the torso telescoping away from the hips. Then last of all, bend your elbows, allow your head to drop down. Bring your hands in closer to your feet or the line of your feet. And stay there for a further minute and just feel into the support that your feet give you here. Your feet are strong. Your ankles are even firmer than in any of the other poses because you've got a wide leg stance. So feel the ankles squeezing into the midline of the ankle. Just before you finish, feel the front of the feet, the front of the ankles, draw up through the shin bones, lift the knees, lift the front thigh muscle, lift it all the way up into the hip fold. And then let's release, walk your hands forward, back onto your fingertips. Do a lean in so your buttocks come forward, but your chest comes forward as well. And then shuffle your feet to center, heel toe, heel toe. Keep your knees bent as you come up gently all the way to standing. All right. And I think it would be a pity because we've done all this work on connecting legs and feet if we didn't do another balancing pose. So for Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose, take up your block and move close to a wall. And we'll go step by step into the balancing pose. If you place your left heel at the wall and step your right foot out, be at that distance that we've been using for the standing poses, for triangle pose and warrior two pose. Hang on to your block. I'm going to have it on the high end and in your right hand at the moment. Then take a step halfway to the right foot. Bring your left in close. Place the block out in front of your right foot little toe on the high end. And then you're going to balance on your right foot and bring your left foot on the wall at hip height. So you have to be at the right distance to manage that, but you can have a few goes as you need to. And bringing your weight forward onto your right foot and left foot onto the wall. Now I got my distance pretty well adjusted the first time, but you might have to come down and readjust for yourself. So here we are. We're balancing on the right leg. Keep the right knee slightly flexed. Don't want to hyperextend it. In the beginning, I was looking down at the block in my hand, and now I'm going to turn my head and look the same direction as the front of my chest. All right, and then we begin the exit from the pose, and left hand, left hip, looking down at your right hand, bringing the left foot to the floor. Plant that left foot, straighten your right leg, take the block up as well. Inhale, come up. All right, and let's go second side. So it will be right foot at the wall and left foot forward, a little more than a meter's distance, and then placing the block in front of your left foot. Little toe side of your foot works well, and then take a step in halfway towards your left foot. Do your lean out and place the heel of your hand. It's quite comforting at this point because you've got 3 points of contact with the floor. Your 2 feet, your hand onto the block. But now we're moving into raising balance on your left foot. Raise your right foot to the wall at hip height if you can, or a little bit lower. And you might need a few goes. And then eventually, when you get the shape of the pose and your foot's on the wall at the right distance, then at first you're looking down. It's very comforting to look down because you know where the ground is. And then if you can rotate your head and look forward and turn your head the same way as the front of your chest. Keep that left knee soft behind the knee, slightly flexed, and then extend up your right arm. And what's happened to the arches of your feet? Not only your left foot, but your right foot. And then looking down to release from the pose, right hand, right hip. Lower that leg and release. Lift the block and come up. All right, good work. All right, let go the block, put it off to the side. And come into a seated position. I'm going to sit up onto a small bolster, or you might want to sit on a cushion. And have beside you your yoga strap or your belt, whatever, your TheraBand, and an eye bag. So nestle into a comfortable seated position and extend out your legs just like we did at the beginning. Dandasana. Bring your hands onto the cushion and press your hands down or just behind the line of the body and extend the legs straight out. Have another look at your feet. You've given them a really good workout, and have them relaxed at the front of the ankle. Lift up, open up, shoulders back, shoulder blades forward. Beautiful. Then let's bend the legs into Badakanasana. And you can take your strap, it's loose on both ends, and wrap your strap around the outer arch of your feet, across your ankles. And at this point, if you pull on the both sides of the straps, you can bring your heels in a little closer to your buttocks, a little closer to your pubic bone. Then holding the strap near to your feet, just to create a slight tug on the belt that helps you sit up straight. So at this point, and if you're experiencing what I'm experiencing, you can feel a strong stretch through the groins, inner thigh to the inner knees. But I've still got a really nice upright posture holding on to the belt like this. Just make sure that you're not holding with a vice-like grip. Keep your hands a little softer. Beautiful. So you've done a nice warm-up for the next pose, sometimes called head to knee pose. And keep the right leg as is. Extend the left leg out in front of you. Now, as you get into this a little more deeply, I've found recently that it's really comfortable because my ankle bone is against the floor, just to put a little padding underneath that bony bit of my body. So I can put my eye bag underneath that ankle bone. It gives me a little bit more comfort and more likelihood that I'll want to stay in the pose. So you can try that. If it doesn't work for you, then of course, dispense with it. All right, and then take up your belt onto your left foot, your straight leg foot. And where I've got the belt is at the balls of the toes, the metatarsal there, the first metatarsal. And if I hold the belt in that position, draw back and lift up, I'm going to work against the resistance of the belt to press the foot forward. I feel a whole lengthening through the left leg, right to the heel bone. Keep the right leg relaxed, so the groin of the right leg relaxed now, the thigh muscles. And then take the belt up into your right hand. Bring your left hand behind the line of your body. Place the left fingertips onto the floor. Pull a little bit onto the belt and get a nice belly twist. So turning the lower part of your torso, the navel, maybe the bottom ribs turning to the left side. And keep that pressure out through the ball of the foot at the same time. So it almost feels like your left leg is going to be longer than when you started. Relax the right thigh. Let the right knee drop out. Beautiful. Let it all go. Release so we can switch sides. And right leg straight, left leg bent. Good. Let's readjust our seat. So with your hands pressing lift your bottom a little bit, press your hands down, and come right forward onto your sitting bones. Good. And then let's pop the belt onto your right foot. Good. And then pressing out against the belt, drawing back. Long right leg from hip to heel. Soft left thigh, left knee dropping out. And using the draw on the belt to sit up a little bit more into straight posture. Feel all the length at the front of the body from the pubic bone to the top of your chest. And then slip the belt into your left hand, bring the right hand back behind you, and begin your rotation to the right side. As I turn here, I'm just noticing, you notice whatever you notice in your own body, but I'm noticing that my left thigh wants to tense up against the rotation. So sending the message, relax on that side, and then turning from the base of my torso to the navel center, to the bottom ribs. And then releasing and bringing both legs back into Badakanasana. And at this point, when your feet are together, bring your hands onto the ball of the big toe. Place your thumbs against the base of the big toe. Wrap your fingers around and see if you can create external rotation of your feet. Roll your feet out. As you do that, you're kind of manipulating your feet outwards. Allow the knees to rotate out. Allow the groins to stretch outwards. And come slightly forward onto the front of the sitting bones. Good. And then we're going to release from this position. Bring your hands onto the outer knees. Lift up and happily extend your legs out in front of you. Give your legs a good stretch. And we're going to complete what we're doing with a floor twist. So take a lying down position on your mat, on your backs. Let's start with our legs bent and feet on the floor near to the buttocks. I think what might be helpful at this point just to do a back release as well. So keep your legs bent and your feet nuzzling into the mat. Feel all your 5 toes and the balls of your feet and the arches, the heel bones. Feel that connection. Relax your upper body, your shoulders into the floor. And work with the breath in this manner. On an inhalation, feel the abdomen inflate with the breath. Big breath in. On the exhalation, draw the navel back towards the floor and empty the air out of the abdominal area. So belly breathing in, big breath, and then the breath goes out, exhaling. And let's do several rounds like that, just so that you get a kind of feeling of the cradle rocking, the cradle of your pelvis. And as you do that, there's that slight rotation through the pelvis, reflected in the back. And with that pelvic tilt, it's a very small movement. You can make it smaller by breathing less, or a little bit bigger by longer inhalations and exhalations. Good. And as we move into the more reflective part of our class, let's do a really gentle floor twist. Leave your arms out to the side. Bring your feet slightly apart, just hip width apart, and then merely drop your knees to the right side, look to the left. With the breath, inhale the legs back up. Exhale, drop them to the left, look to the right. And let's continue with that, just so building up a little momentum in rotating the spine. And also that nice lateral movement that comes with this, where you're stretching the side body. Knees go to one side, you stretch the opposite side. All right, and then let's finish. And knees upright, arms just relaxed totally by your side. I'd like us to set up for the yoga relaxation in a particular manner. You could try this on, see if you like it. Just roll to the side and get, if possible, 2 cushions or 2 bolsters. I have a big bolster and a smaller one. So if you just watch my demonstration for a second, when I lie down for this relaxation, my lower legs are going to be elevated onto this bigger bolster. Now, if you don't have these tailor-made props, you can just improvise to whatever extent. But I want my ankles and my heels to be supported, and also the backs of my knees, so I don't hyperextend my knees. That might not be a problem for you, but it's a problem for very, very, very flexible people. So I've got this nice support on my feet, my backs of my knees, backs of my lower thighs, and now I'm ready to release into relaxation. Get all your extra props if you like to. Have a eye pillow, a cushion for the back of your head. Really take the time. It means that you're giving yourself care. You're practicing self-care as you take time to get the props supporting you for maximum comfort. If you don't do it, then it's not likely that anybody else will. So here we are, we're all set up. And once you've done that, your arms at that distance from your body where they feel comfortable and that they can relax completely. Your fingers, your palms, your elbows, your shoulders. Feel the upper back where the shoulder blades are evenly placed onto the mat as much as you can. And then once you've made the adjustments there, then just release the weight of your upper body. Having given extra care to supporting your feet, your ankles, allow your feet to drop out. There's always a little bit more sense of relaxation that you can create. Your feet drop out, and the inner arches of your feet soft. The outer arches too. You might want to fan your toes out slightly and recreate the spacing between your toes. And then withdrawing energy there, just allow the toes to relax and find their own levels. Feel where the Achilles are supported on your prop, to relax in that space that connects with your calf muscles, and feel them broad and soft too. Relax the inside of your knees, and the inner thighs. And feel a sense of the joints of the body being more empty. So all the ligaments and tendons and muscles can release, soften, and let go of any gripping. Let your awareness rest lightly on your facial features, and most especially your eyes. your mouth, softening there. We're going to exit from the relaxation, but in staging that exit, move slowly. First, just bend up one leg, place your foot onto the prop, onto the bolster cushion, second leg, and stay there for another moment, recreating that sense of relaxation even as we become more active. And then bend the knees in closer to your chest, roll onto whatever side you like, bring your arms into a folded position, legs are folded. And as though you had all the time in the world. And do take your sweet time to come up to a seated position. We'll finish by sitting together. In your seated position, join your hands in front of your chest and close your eyes again. Feel like you're still diving deep into the inner self, where the hands rest against the breastplate. Lift and open the chest to your breath, to your heart center, and send yourself goodwill here, acknowledging that you've brought yourself to the yoga practice and funded the energy that the practice offers. And then send your goodwill out, just generally into the world. Namaste. Thank you.